Hey guys, so today I'd like to show you a very simple process to add some texture and depth to flat illustration work in Illustrator, and also quick and easy ways to port that over to Photoshop so you can work in both programs to earn that benefit and flexibility. So what I've got here are two different Apple illustrations that I've produced, and I've copied into my Illustrator document a set of scatter brushes that Ryan Clark produced. These are available on his personal site but also on Creative Market. And the great thing about scatter brushes is that they allow you to produce and scan in and vectorize a quick little swatch created from, say, charcoal or pencil or crayons or pastels, and then turn that into a brush that repeats as you draw upon a path. So I've got a couple of those in here to work with, and I just wanted to share with you this easy way to really enrich otherwise flat illustration work if you wanted to do that. So first I need to select the pencil tool and change the color so it's actually not the same red apple color. And I'm going to just start drawing as if I'm creating a shadow on the left side of this apple, and I'll go ahead and apply one of these brushes. So as you can see, I've already got a very nice painterly effect going on just from using one of those brushes. It's a little big right now, so if I go ahead and just scale the point down, you'll see that the adjustments start to happen there too, so there's some great control that you can do. But instead of trying to expand this and mask it in Illustrator into the same apple shape, I'm going to actually start building this in Photoshop and port it over and show some easy paths back and forth. The reason for that is some of these textures are really complex, and I'll show you that building it out in Illustrator with a mask potentially could create some crashes for you. So I'm going to grab this and copy it using shortcuts Command C and go to my Photoshop document where I've rebuilt the same file with these vector layers, and I'm going to paste in that initial shadow texture layer as a smart object. I need to create that as a 200%, and I'm just going to go ahead and place it sort of in the general area. So the next thing I need to do is copy my apple shape layer and rasterize it so that I can then use the magic wand to click in and get a marquee selection to get that shape. So then I will name my texture layer texture 1 and click the mask icon down here, and now we've got a mask. So working really well for us. It's already enriched the original illustration, but one of the cool things about working both in Photoshop and Illustrator is that I can double click the smart object and it'll open up that smart object as the original scatter brush in Illustrator. So if I wanted to, I could come in here and start to adjust the actual points and change some of the shape and dynamic of this. And if I save that and jump back over to Photoshop, it's already reflecting those changes. So really quickly, I'll add another brush on top of this in my Illustrator document using a lighter apple red color and one of the other scatter brushes that I've got. And just paint a little bit of path there. Apply a different one. If I want to, I can change the stroke to get a little bit of different sizing and effect. And then I'll copy that and paste it over to Photoshop again as a smart object. And I'll need to go 200% on that. And this guy is going to sit beneath the shadow just to see how this feels. And I can actually copy the same apple shape mask if that's a helpful shortcut by unlinking them and holding down Option and just dragging that down to that layer. Well, it looks like it got messed up, so I'll just create that again from scratch. So pretty quickly I've turned a rather flat illustration that we created digitally in Illustrator and sort of bridged the physical art world through the scatter brush technique. And you can see if I click back and forth and start to change some of the opacities, they can get a variety of effects. So if you want to really go crazy, you can layer a bunch of layers of this and start to change the opacity and see what you end up with. If you keep things at 100% there, or in Illustrator, you can more accurately match Pantones to it, or give a screen printer a better file to work with if you're looking to print that. So the last thing I wanted to show was some of the complexity around why we're porting over the vector texture from Illustrator into Photoshop. You can see here I've painted a lot of swatches that I'd like to try to apply to this little guy. And it's looking really nice. It's very rich. If I wanted to try to mask this in Illustrator, here's sort of the path I'd have to do. Let's expand it. And it's expanded the texture as well as the backgrounds into boxes. So I'm going to use some keyboard shortcuts, Shift Command G to ungroup everything. And then you can see as I find and discover one of these boundary lines that don't have a fill or a stroke, I can select the same fill color. It's grabbing some of the stuff over here. And I can delete that, and so now I've actually just been left with the texture. So if I actually grouped that and unlocked my apple shape here, I'm going to copy that with Command C. I'll lock that back down, paste it on top with Command F, and remove the fill by clicking and dragging this null sign. So now I've got the outline here ready, just like we were doing in Photoshop, and my group texture. So I'll hold down Shift and grab both of them, go to Object, and let's try to clip mask that into there. So as I do it, it's seeming to work okay. But you can imagine if you did about 4 or 5 or 6 of these things, that the program can actually start to encounter some problems. So if you're going for a more simple look, you probably can mask it in Illustrator straight in here and keep everything nice and tidy in one document. But if you want a deeper, richer experience and start to play around with all that Photoshop has to offer, you can also bring it into there and take a look at how you can use it much further. So that's all I had to share with you guys. I hope this is very helpful. This is a very highly desired look and feels really nice and vintage and physical for otherwise digital illustration work. So thanks a lot for watching, guys.